The City of Phoenix holds community budget hearings throughout April, allowing residents to comment and make suggestions on the city manager's trial budget before final decisions are made. This public discussion is among the reasons the city's budget so closely matches the community's highest priorities each fiscal year.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here. I'm Councilman Michael Nowakowski. I'm the council member for District 7, which the Irish Cultural Center happens to be in. And I just really want to thank you for being here and giving us your input. This process is so important because it's time for us, when I say us, the City of Phoenix, to actually listen to the community, what the concerns are, and how we can actually spend your tax dollars wisely, and to hear about all the great programs that we have at the City of Phoenix and how they benefit your families, yourselves, and our seniors. So thank you for being out here, and we're really here to listen to you all. So I'll be quiet and just pass the mic on to our facilitator, Rick Neymart.
Thank you, Councilman. Good evening, everybody. My name is Rick Neymark. I'm Deputy City Manager. And also up here at the table is Rick Fries, who's the Deputy Budget Director. So any questions or comments that I can't figure out the answer to, Rick certainly knows what's going on. We also do have a number of other city staff in the audience, and I want to thank you for being here and listening to the public, and also if we have a question somebody can answer, you can wave your hand. So, in fact, let me just have city staff people wave their hands just in general so we know. There's a whole lot of you out there. So if you have a question about a particular department, they're probably represented here tonight. So, si alguien necesita traducción, por favor, vayan para atrás. Anybody? Alguien? No, that's it. That's all I know. I don't know how to say it's getting pretty rusty. Anyway, this is one of 12 hearings citywide. In fact, there are a couple more around the city happening tonight, and it's a regular part of our budget process to get feedback from the public. It's also, all of the hearings are being taped on the city's Channel 11 YouTube channel. So we want to make sure that when you do, we'll call names in a little bit, you come up to speak, that you do use the microphone so that you can be heard by everybody in the audience and also the watching public. Also, we'll be taking notes up here, and many staff people will be taking notes, but also there will be actual formal minutes that will be recorded, and the mayor and city council will all get to see what the Councilman Nowakowski will see tonight, and all of the hearings as well. So they'll get a chance to get the entirety of the public input. So tonight, what we're going to be doing is we have a brief video that will give an overview of the budget. Then we'll have an opportunity. I've got comment cards here. Some of you filled out cards saying you wish to speak. There are cards up front if you didn't do that, or if something spurs, when you see the video, spurs you to want to fill out a card, please do so. And so we'll call the cards, listen to the speakers, and if you could, just for everybody's sake, please keep your comments limited to a couple of minutes at the most. And then want to make sure you know we have a document. We call it the budget tabloid. If you didn't get one of these on your way in, please get one on your way out. It says everything that's in the budget in great detail. And again, if you have any questions about that, we'd be glad to answer them. And then I just wanted to say that there's never, I've been working for the city since 1986. That's almost 29 years, and I've been to budget hearings every one of those years. And as I've watched all of the budgets work year after year after year, there's never been a preliminary budget like the one that's in front of us today, the trial budget from the city manager, that hasn't changed as a result of public input into the process before it gets approved by the council later on in the spring. So your input is really, really important, and it is valued, and it does have an impact on the budget. So I don't know who's in charge of the video. Wherever you are, can you go ahead and get it started, and then we'll take your questions and comments after that. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to one of a dozen hearings on the City Manager's 2015-16 trial budget. Input from our residents is so important and helps shape what will end up being the final budget for the next fiscal year. The final budget is important because it provides the plan for how the city will spend taxpayer money and how services that you depend on could be impacted.
I'm really pleased with this trial budget because it represents a year of really hard work. Leadership by the mayor and council to make some tough decisions, our employees who took concessions and who've worked hard to save money, and our partnership with our residents to bring a balanced budget for 2015-16.
Why is a balanced budget important? It's required by state law and city charter. In this budget, there will be no cuts to the city services that you count on every day.
I think it's important with this budget to know that we brought it into balance without cutting any services, and we can actually add some very important things for the community.
Even with state fiscal actions negatively impacting Phoenix costs and revenue, and with the sunset of the emergency sales tax on food on March 31st, the budget is balanced and important additions are being made thanks to the hard work of everyone.
The funding for the city budget comes from different sources. It's not all coming from one place, and it's divided into three main areas: the general fund, enterprise funds, and special revenue funds.
Examples of general fund city departments include police, fire, the library, parks and recreation, and streets. Enterprise fund departments include aviation, water services, solid waste services, and the convention center. Special revenue funds account for designated sources of money for a specific purpose, like sales tax dollars for the hiring of police officers and firefighters, and funds for public transit.
So when you look at all of those areas together, that's really the diverse mix of all the things that makes up our city budget.
The mayor and city council took action early on, leading us to a balanced budget. That includes eliminating 162 full-time general fund vacant positions last December. For a second year, additional employee compensation concessions at just under 1%. And over the last several years, the city has eliminated nearly 100 management positions and cut overtime costs by more than 50%. The efficiency efforts by city staff have been remarkable. The city is less than $2 million away from reaching its 2015 savings goal of $100 million over the past 5 years. The mayor and city council have also led reforms of the civilian pension system. In total, we can expect to see a savings of around $830 million over 2 decades, thanks to the actions already taken by the mayor and city council, along with the city pension board and voters. This will have a positive long-term impact on the budget, although there is still more work to be done. In addition, the zero-based budget review process, looking at every program, has led to $1.2 million in savings for 2015-16. Every line item in the budget was scrutinized, which allows the city to find ways to save. Among the savings, $600,000 by closing 2 courtrooms where the number of cases has dropped considerably. $225,000 saved in the finance department by relying more on technology and reducing postage costs for mailing monthly statements. $200,000 in street transportation by analyzing signage and determining which road signs are unnecessary to install, maintain, or produce. These are just a few of many ways that staff has found to improve efficiency. To see the full list of savings, check out the budget summary packet provided at these budget hearings and is also available on phoenix.gov. One of the biggest challenges the city faces this year has to do with what's happening at the state level. In an effort to balance its budget, the state has shifted costs and reduced revenue to cities like Phoenix. That has led to a $6.3 million negative impact on the city, which in turn eliminated a $4.3 million surplus, which would have been used to address important city needs. This created a $2 million deficit. To balance it out, here's what the trial budget suggests. Holding off on replacing some older city vehicles and equipment, along with slowing the growth of the city's contingency fund, which is still at its highest level in city history. Here's a look at the new services proposed in the trial budget. First, let's look at the general fund. The budget adds $14,000 for implementing full-time recreation at the county-provided Kofelt Rec Center. It's located at 19th Avenue in Buckeye. That means the existing rec center will be filled with kids year-round. In the area of innovation, the budget adds a business analyst to begin preparations for Phoenix 311, which would provide a centralized information center, as well as identifying technology needed to implement a unified municipal services card. And many residents feel that protecting the public should be the city's top priority. That's why public safety amounts to 71% of the general fund in this trial budget. This budget adds an additional $2 million for 40 hours of police officer training for every officer. Now to dedicated public safety special revenue funds. Due to the fact that these funds will be balanced next year, the budget includes the hiring of 110 police officers in 2015-16, which will increase the size of the police force from where it is today. The council also approved a plan to hire 90 firefighters next fiscal year after hiring approximately 75 this year. Now let's look at dedicated Phoenix Parks and Preserves Initiatives funds. Those funds would provide maintenance for 3 new desert preserve trailheads, creating more opportunities for residents to enjoy our preserved trails. From the Development Services Funds, which is paid for by building permit and inspection fees, is this proposal, making for a better customer experience in planning and development services with improved technology and training and more staff to enhance the electronic plan review section and the front counter service. Now to dedicated transit funds. The light rail is seeing more riders now than ever before. The proposed budget would fund rail operations for the new Northwest extension to 19th Avenue and Dunlap. Out of dedicated aviation enterprise funds comes an important improvement at Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport. It's one of the 10 busiest in the nation. The trial budget calls for the addition of a dedicated team at the airport to analyze noise impacts of flight activity, assess any proposed changes by the FAA, and to reach out to the community to solicit feedback and exchange information. Out of the solid waste special enterprise funds, the trial budget calls for operating a composting facility which will divert several tons of green waste per week from the landfill. That facility is scheduled to open next year. But the list of community needs continues. Among them, police body cameras, addressing homelessness, restoring library hours, after-school programs, support for arts programs, park maintenance, and street maintenance and street landscaping. Any budget requires trade-offs, and street landscaping is an example of that. It is important to keep our city beautiful and safe by making sure trees and shrubs along the roadways are maintained. Right now, that happens when residents make a report, but that could soon change. The council will soon vote on whether to bid for the service, which means the roadways would be regularly maintained 3 times a year. Although funding is not currently available to increase this service, the Transportation and Infrastructure Subcommittee is evaluating additional options which would increase the frequency of street landscaping service with added costs estimated to range from $1.5 to $6 million. Additional funding sources would need to be identified.
So the 2015-16 trial budget is really good news. We've balanced the budget with no cuts to services, and in fact, we've added some things that are important to the community. But we always want to be looking ahead, and so we have a 5-year plan. We forecast ahead, and we see that we have some issues to deal with after this year.
One of the biggest challenges to the general fund, public safety pension costs. Much work has been done on the civilian side, controlled by the city, but the state-controlled system still faces challenges. This trial budget assumes phasing in added public safety pension costs over the next 3 years, allowing city services to be preserved. Also, revenue growth will be affected by actions taken by the state on income and sales taxes. The city is planning ahead on both of these issues and will work hard to address them over the next 12 months. Keep in mind, the budget hasn't been adopted just yet. Your input is important, and the City of Phoenix wants to hear from you on what the upcoming budget should look like. 12 public hearings will take place this month across all council districts, and you are encouraged to attend. You can also send your comments or questions to budget.research@phoenix.gov, or to reach out to us by phone, call 602-262-4800. You can also comment on social media by using #PhoenixBudget. Thank you for being part of a very important process. The City of Phoenix is committed to its mission of improving the quality of life in Phoenix through the efficient delivery of outstanding public services.
Okay, a few of you walked in late and brought in some extra cards. I think I've got them all, but if anybody has a card they wanted to fill out, just fill it out up there and we'll make sure we call your name. So first is John Walker, and John will be followed by Donna Reiner. John?
Thank you for letting me speak. I'm a longtime Phoenix resident, and I'm a board member at the Phoenix Spokespeople, and I'm here to advocate for more spending on bicycle infrastructure. I'm a little disappointed in what I haven't seen. I think bike share is one of the great things that we have seen, but I have not seen anything significant other than that. I think the bike infrastructure is really critical in our urban renewal that we're seeing in Phoenix. It's a great way to attract young professionals and take advantage of what Phoenix has to offer. ASU's downtown campus, I think, is a great example of that. But to keep the graduates, the people that are graduating in Phoenix here, we need to give things that are attractive to them. And I think one of those things is an alternative transportation options, including safe and separated bike infrastructure. And I think that plays into multimodal operations or options, including light rail, biking, and walkability. And I think there's been a desire to drive less, especially in the central Phoenix area, and that's among both young and old people. There's lots of roads that I think are just waiting here in Phoenix to have some sort of bike infrastructure installed, but I just haven't been seeing that. And I think what's really important is not just putting a stripe down on the road, because you're not going to feel safe with just a stripe down. We need something more substantial, like protected bike lanes, that would allow anyone that's as young as 8 or as old as 80 or older to ride and feel safe. And I think a great thing to think about is ask yourself, if you're looking at a street, would you want your grandparent or your child riding on that street? And I think if the answer is no, then there's more work to be done in terms of bike infrastructure. In sum, I think Phoenix needs to dedicate a set amount of money every year specifically for bike infrastructure. I think $1.50 per resident per year is a very reasonable amount of money to ask to really start transforming our city in a way that appeals to growth and to an urban youth. That would be about $2.25 million per year solely for bike infrastructure. That would be less than 0.2% of the budget. I think that's very reasonable and critical for Phoenix to really continue to grow as it has. So thank you very much. $1.50 per person per year. Thank you.
Okay, Donna Reiner, and followed by Karen Voyer-Caravana.
Good evening. I'm Donna Reiner, and although I no longer live in District 7 because someone changed the boundaries, okay, but I am here primarily because I am the chair of the Arts and Culture Commission for the City of Phoenix. And we are really grateful that the proposed budget does not have any cuts for the arts and culture services for the residents of Phoenix. And we believe this is really important because the investment of arts are an investment that pay off many times. And it's quite interesting that one of the community needs is for more grants, community support grants. And I believe that we are one of the very effective methods of passing those funds on to other organizations in the city. Now, we need police, we need firefighters, we need safe streets for cars and for pedestrians and for bikes. We need good libraries, we need pools, parks, and community centers. But we also need the arts. And so why? Well, one of the things that people talk about today is creativity. We need creativity. Well, the arts help breed creativity. And for those of you with your smartphones, it's got all of those little apps. Someone was really creative. And so never discount that what creativity is not just the music and it's not just drawing. It really is using the mind. But other things are that the arts do have a social impact. They improve academic performance. Local merchants do like the performances because then people come and they might shop, they might have restaurants and eat. It does drive tourism. But I want you to know, Councilman Nowakowski, that in your district, I believe you have some of the most well-recognized arts and culture groups, and I will give you this sheet afterwards. But for those of you who are not familiar, there's the Phoenix Symphony, which of course is just down the street. There's the Puppet Theater, which is just west of us, the Japanese Cultural Center, which is just west of us, Roosevelt Row. Those are some of the organizations that the grants that we give support those groups that graciously we can have that grant money. But we certainly could use more and spread it out. And that's all I'm going to do, but I'm leaving you this. This also gives you a list of other arts and culture organizations that we know exist within your district boundaries. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Donna. And Karen, you're next, followed by Lisa Parks.
Thank you. My name is Karen Boyer Caravona. I'm a social worker and also a member of Phoenix Spokespeople. I have been for 3 years, and I've lived in Phoenix for 3 years. Councilman, I hope that you will pass on to your colleague, Councilwoman Gallego, that the NASW chapter really appreciated her speaking recently at our breakfast. She spoke with so much empathy for members of our more underserved community who rely sometimes 100% on public transportation. I support the transit tax, and with my support of the transit tax, I want to just reinforce to you and everybody in this room how important bicycle infrastructure is to really making public transportation work for as many people as possible. I use both public transportation and I bicycle probably 75% of the time. The rest of it is mostly driving in my car when I have to. But in order for me to really get anywhere using public transit, whether it's light rail or bus, I have to also have my bike with me most of those times. And I get around that way very easily, dressed exactly the way I am today, so it can be done. But for members of our lower income community, people who live in Cofelt, people who live in Matthew Henson, in Luke Crone, at Aero Terra, I've been to all of those places. I've talked to people about their transportation needs. They really depend on it. And what we have now is just not serving them adequately. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Karen. After Karen, it's Lisa and then Mary Lynn Kelly. I didn't say it, Lisa. Yeah. Okay, go for it.
Hi, I'm Lisa Parks. I'm also a board member of Phoenix Spokespeople, and I work for Grid Bike Share. I'm going to echo a lot of what Karen and John said, so I'm not going to duplicate that because you've already heard what they said, but I do also ask for $150 per resident for bicycle infrastructure. I ride my bike to and from work every day and bike all around the city. I am speaking on behalf of thousands of bicyclists that do ride their bikes, and the people who, there are so many people who want to ride their bike, but they don't, and they come up to me and they ask, how do I ride a bike? Am I a car? Am I a pedestrian? It's like, you're a bicyclist, but unfortunately, our infrastructure doesn't let people, bicyclists find where they want to go safely. So we've got, I live near the 15th Avenue bike lane, and it's just a white stripe, and I avoid it because it's scary. Almost a year ago, last April, I was hit by a car just down the street, and I was hit by somebody who was coming back from teaching a bike safety program. So if the president of Phoenix Spokespeople can get hit by someone coming home from teaching a bike safety program, there's a huge problem with our streets. We have 3,500 users of Grid Bike Share that have signed up in the last 4 months. And I know Mr. Neymark is a big rider, and he's got his helmet, and he is one of our top riders, riding close to riding the most miles with our program. So with all of these people, that a lot of people getting on the bikes are new to riding, and we need to let them know where they can ride. We need to make it really safe because the program's doing really well, and it can do even better if we have the right infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. While Mary Lynn's coming up, I did want to, Lisa, thank you and Grid for all you're doing to make that program work well. And I did want to mention, somebody mentioned the transportation plan that the mayor and city council referred to the ballot. That'll be on the ballot this August. There is information about what's in the plan up front if you didn't pick it up on your way in. I wanted to mention that bicycle infrastructure is a big chunk of what's in that plan. Our streets program funding, because of gas taxes going down and other funding for streets being constricted, has been really hard to continue to allocate more money for streets, street infrastructure, inclusive of all the bike infrastructure that we desire and that the mayor and council have adopted. This plan will build more than 1,100 miles of additional bike lanes and has 170 miles of new sidewalk improvements. So there's really a lot of pedestrian and bike infrastructure in the plan, so I'd encourage you to take a look at it.
Hi, thank you for having us. I wanted to thank you guys to start with. For anybody that is in public service or is a school teacher, the very first thing I do is thank you for putting yourself out there and taking on that role. It is sometimes very challenging, so I want you to know that. And also, thank you for hosting it here. I've never been to the Irish Cultural Center, and this is a beautiful asset, and I am honored to know about it. The other thing that I wanted to say is that tonight, on behalf of Nicole Shamblin, she is the principal of Arthur M. Hamilton Elementary School. She is at teacher conferences doing what teachers do, and asked me to submit a statement if that's appropriate. Okay. So on behalf of her, and then I'll introduce myself with regard to my role in the city. But for tonight, for Nicole, it says that many parents work after school hours, and the students have a much unstructured time. And if there's not adult supervised activities that are taking place at Cofelt, that leads to additional issues for all of us. Though the next thing she says is though we have 21st century tutoring going on at Hamilton, this is typically made available to only a certain grade level and at certain times, and is furthermore limiting in the targets of the high risk or the failing kids that they need assistance. The COP after school activities are open to all of the Cofelt residents, and which would provide an additional layer that complements the outreach to students, and that's critical in her eyes. Many of the students demonstrate a need for appropriate structured peer as well as supervisory adult interactions. Teaching appropriate conflict resolution and other character-based life lessons and strategies is less of a priority in the mainstream classrooms these days. And so the COP activities can assist in helping to make the Cofelt students virtuous, productive citizens and assist in the help in that area. On certain occasions, students from Hamilton have been found wandering around the campus after hours and pulling on door handles, making out on hidden stoops, and smoking pot, simply to pass the time. It is the fear of the administration and the teaching staff that if the students have less structured, supervised activities going on within the neighborhood, that they will find some sort of less productive activities to participate in. COFELT-funded, the COP-funded activities, City of Phoenix, I'm sorry, activities are at the center of the act as a preventative measure in this respect. And I know you're hiring more police, but I think that they would all agree that they'd prefer not to be busier in that with the students. In addition, they say that the sports and their creative expression activities are the things that students at Hamilton excel at currently and engage them in the community. From a climate of culture and perspective, she said, I'd like to work with the community to continue to grow this so that the students can feel confident and successful. It is my hope that we can bridge these successes in sports and art to achievement with academics. The COP activities will really help with that. Thank you. So on behalf of Nicole and the school, we really appreciate it. I want to thank you also for allowing me to speak. So if we bridge over to Mary Lynn Kelly with Restore Arts. I am a City of Phoenix citizen, and I have 3 different layers of involvement. I live in Phoenix, 85254 area. I work out of the Phoenix Center for the Arts, which is an extraordinary success story, and I compliment you on your vision for that project and how it's been this public-private partnership that creates community profit. And now, at COFELT and with Hamilton, I am on the team to help the Murphy School District figure out, and they engaged us to figure out how to create opportunities to teach unconventional things like for example, life skills and conflict resolution and academic achievement, because this particular school has a D rating. So we had to think of a new way to do it, and we chose to do that with art. If you can engage the students with art, they will learn additional programs and excel in areas they didn't expect to. There are 2 different things I want to tell you. I'm going to give you a tiny bit of my background so you will understand why I see things unconventionally. I was the executive, I've been in every aspect of education. It's bizarre, it's an unexpected path, but I have been a congressional staffer. I started the Challenger Space Center as a conversation. It became a Smithsonian affiliate and continues to teach students today. I was selected as the PI, the principal investigator, for a STEM grant. It was $500,000, and it was to create those STEM skills and advance them. And it was an honor to serve on the state charter board as the business member. So I understand the difficulties of balancing a budget, and I have decided that there's a philosophy of a community profit. So as you spoke and said here, and you said there were 3 things that I immediately, you said compost, after school, and art. I can tell you that I can put together a program for the summer time that would create an activity that complements your goals that aren't even on the agenda, as long as I understand that the support is going to continue. I would like for clarification, because as I was told, I want to understand where the $14,000 is. Is it in addition so that we cover the summer, or is it being cut to that? Okay, so what your intention is to have the $14,000.
Just so everybody hears, it's an addition to the budget.
Okay, that's what I was hoping, and I wanted to clarify that to make sure. So it is my understanding that it's funded through the year to have the after-school and recreational activities, correct? So the 14,000 allows you to provide that over the summer. My concern is until the Cofelt Community Center is built, is it the intention to have those classes offered at Hamilton? Will that?
I'm not sure I can answer that, but is there somebody in the back from the Parks Department that might be able to? Cynthia can.
I can't speak to that exactly, because that's not my area, but I can definitely get the contact information and give you some more details.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was one of the things that I wanted to say publicly and finalize by saying that the collaborations are one of the untapped strengths in our community, and I promise you, if that is your intention, that I will do everything to help work with these the members that are here to make the very most out of that money. And so thank you very much for your time and attention and
Thank you, Mary Lynn.
the input that you're allowed.
So next is Jessica Amen, followed by Elsa Rangel, followed by Gloria Munoz.
Good evening. My name is Jessica. I'm here on behalf of the Arizona Humane Society. I want to start by thanking you for inviting us to participate in the Levine Dog Park grand opening this past weekend. We look forward to celebrating the big event this fall. So I think most people are aware that the Arizona Humane Society has been serving this community for over 60 years now. And I think while many residents know that to call the Arizona Humane Society when they see a sick or injured animal, most are not fully aware of the critical role that we play in animal cruelty investigations, often serving as the first responder. Last fiscal year, our emergency dispatch responders received over 5,000 calls of animal abuse or neglect in the city of Phoenix alone. AHS responds to calls from the public, from the police department, fire department, and other agencies, and it is our emergency animal medical technicians that initiate an investigation. In some cases, we're simply going out to educate the public on proper pet care, but there are unfortunate situations that require an owner to surrender a pet to us, or in the worst case scenarios, we must confiscate an animal who is in a dire situation. Working collaboratively with the police department, we then provide appropriate veterinary care and housing for pets that are held in protective custody. The extent of our commitment does not end there, however, as we then assist police in preparing their cases and testifying in court. For those of you that have ever done a ride-along with our EAMTs, you know it's absolutely heartbreaking to witness what they go through on a daily basis, but without them, we would not be able to provide this invaluable service to the community. Our dedicated EAMTs are a key part of our mission, and I think their work really does make a difference in the community. We have enjoyed a really great working relationship with the City of Phoenix Police Department, the City Prosecutor's Office, and of course the City Council Office, and for over a decade now. We really appreciate the city's dedication to prosecuting animal crimes and your continued support for the work that we do. So thank you very much. What role?
Is there a financial role, or is there a budget, or is there?
Currently, we have a contract, which we are just doing it out of the goodwill of our own hearts. We really have some very wonderful donors and supporters out there who are very passionate and committed to the services that our EAMTs provide. So we do the ambulance and rescue, and then, like I said, the investigations for the City of Phoenix Police Department. I don't want to speak on their behalf, but I know that they really value our partnership and the role that we play in helping them with their investigations.
Thank you, Jessica. Elsa, and then Gloria, and followed by Rebecca Flanagan.
Buenas tardes. Yo soy Elsa Rangel y soy residente de los apartamentos Cofelt. Estoy aquí para apoyar el presupuesto del Departamento de Parques y Recreación para el Parque Cofelt. Los niños de nuestra comunidad necesitan este parque para entretenerse y no piensen en cosas negativas. Gracias.
Good evening. My name is Elsa Rangel, and I'm a resident of the Cofelt Apartments. I am here to support the budget for the Department of Parks and Recreation for the Cofelt Park. The kids of our community need this park to entertain themselves and not think about negative things. Thank you.
Gloria, and then Rebecca.
Good evening and thank you. My name is Gloria Munoz and I'm the Director of the Housing Authority for Maricopa County. And I'm here to support the budget item for the Kofelt Park. The park exists in the middle of a 296 apartment complex that's currently owned by the Housing Authority that's being redeveloped. And we would really appreciate the support. At full occupancy, we have about 600 kids at the property, and about 75% of the children go to the Hamilton School. So we're bringing in the arts program, we're bringing in a community center, and the Parks and Recs would just complement the services there. So thank you.
Record, where is Kofelt Park?
The Kofelt Park is located on 19th Avenue between Buckeye and the I-10, I-17 freeway. So we're right in your district.
And does the City of Phoenix provide services now, or?
We currently have a cooperative agreement with the City of Phoenix, and that agreement has been in place since 1968, and it's never had a budget authority attached to it. We pretty much have band-aided the services over the summer to bring in the summer programming, and then there is the Alki pool that's across the street that does have the funding, so we kind of share that relationship because we have the community center and they have the pool. So our kids walk across the street to go to the pool for some of the services, and then they come to our community center for services. Thank you.
Thank you. Rebecca, followed by Jane Pearson. Did you wish to speak or not? Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Rebecca Flanagan, and thank you for letting me speak as well. I'm here in support of the Kofelt Parks and Recreation budget. My only concern is that it is for a part-time person, which we really appreciate for the summer. But I don't know if there's a bit of misunderstanding that even though there's going to be reconstruction or rehabilitation of the Kofelt property totally, the multipurpose center, which is where the park and recreation facilities are held, all the different field trips, the arts and crafts, the sports and all of that, that's going to be the last thing touched in terms of the renovation. So what's going to be needed is beyond summer, and I'm just wondering if more funding could be available for the full year. If, as I mentioned, this will be the last thing that they will renovate. So all of the kids will still be able to go there. And we're hoping that when, in fact, it gets renovated, which will be probably a year down the road, that particular activity can be moved over maybe to Hamilton. And I think we have a really good working relationship between the City of Phoenix, Hamilton School, and the Housing Authority to be able to work something like that out. So I'm in support, of course, of part-time, but I wanted you to be aware that we really would like full-time, and that I thank you very much.
Hello. Thank you, Rebecca. Next will be Sean Sweat, followed by Joe Murphy, and then Zach Johnson.
Hello. Thank you for your time tonight. I just wanted to echo some of the comments I think I heard about bicycle infrastructure. It seems like a lot of times in the past, the city has looked for reasons to not put bike lanes in. I would really like to see that start changing to try to look for reasons to put bike lanes in. And to do that, we really do need to give more funding to bicycle lanes. I heard $1.50 per capita put out there. That seems like a very fair number. I was looking it up while I was sitting there, and Atlanta does almost $4.50, and San Antonio does about $1.50 also. It's only two I could look up while I was on my phone there. But that seems like compared to Atlanta, it's very low, but it's on par with San Antonio, which I think we consider a peer city in a lot of ways. A lot of the same challenges, a lot of the same advantages and disadvantages as we have. So I think $1.50 per capita sounds really good for bicycle infrastructure. We do need to get much more serious about that. We have the opportunity to get so many bicyclists here in Phoenix. And just to kind of frame how much opportunity we really have, studies have shown that you have about 1% of the population, which are the super cyclists, right? They put on the spandex and they'll like ride down the highway. Then you've got like 7 to 10%, which I think they call confident, enthusiastic and confident. And they're people who are probably riding today. But then there's 60%, which are the interested but concerned, and they won't ride unless there's infrastructure for them. But they want to, but they have to feel safe. And so I think we really owe that 60% of the population the right to ride a bicycle without feeling like they're in danger. So I think that's really important. And I understand that the transit tax in August, fingers crossed, is going to pass, and that we hopefully will have a lot of funds to do that. But in the meantime, I feel like we need the backstop of at least devoting that money now, and if that tax passes, we can sweep it, however that works. I'm not going to pretend to be a budget expert, but thank you.
Joe Murphy, followed by Zach Johnson. And I think Zach is the last card, unless anybody else had a card in that I missed that was going to speak. You can decide at the end, Jeff, if you want.
Thanks, Rick. Hi. Hi, I'm Joe Murphy. Nice to see you all again. I live over in the North Roosevelt neighborhood. I'm on the Central City Village Planning Committee. Just wanted to also speak in favor of having more bike and pedestrian improvements as part of the general budget. Also, just flipping through the budget handout that we were given a moment ago, I saw that you were going to eliminate the open ballot drop-off on Saturday for elections. It's about $12,000, I think, out of your budget. As someone who's done these election things a few times, I've found a lot of people will make time on Saturday to get down there because it's the only day of the week that they can get there, or the only day that these centers are open. So I'd ask you to keep those on the budget as well. The other thing I noticed is you were going to hire possibly 3 aviation noise planners, basically, and just wanted to kind of speak out against that, or possibly ask you to maybe modify what they're working on, because as anyone who's driven through Central City close to Sky Harbor Airport can see, a lot of the area out there is empty. It's a lot of formerly really active neighborhoods that are now all gravel lots, and there's literally nothing going on there. And it is one of those times when it is the city's fault. The city had a noise reduction program for that neighborhood, and their noise reduction program was basically when someone complained, they were given federal money to buy their house, move the person somewhere else where the planes weren't flying over, and then tear the house down, cover the lot in gravel, and put up a no trespassing sign on it. I had the distinct pleasure of finding out what the long-term plan for the city of Phoenix was for those lots, and the long-term plan literally said, we don't know yet. They're going to be empty lots for a while. And because of that, we've got some of the oldest neighborhoods in the city were torn down. Recently, the Central City Village Planning Committee was considering something about improvements along the light rail line. The planners were forbidden from considering, I think, anything south of Washington Street, which is severely hampered what the village could do, and it's basically because the airport told them no. I think it's time that the rest of the city tells the airport and the FAA not just to stop getting the planes flying over our heads and causing all this noise and the kind of reckless way they've been doing things, but also that they can't keep hitting us with the federal government saying you can't build anything here, and our noise reduction program is we're going to move you out so you stop complaining. And I just wanted to also encourage everyone here to vote for the transit item in the August election. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Zach? Followed by, if Jeff Sherman, you checked you didn't want to speak, but if you want to speak, we'll let you.
Thank you, Brian.
Everyone said it already. Okay, good. Zach, you get to wrap up.
Oh, fantastic. I'll talk for 45 minutes then. My name is Zach Johnson. I work with Gorman & Company. We're the master development partner with the Housing Authority of Maricopa County and Gloria Munoz. And on behalf of our team, I wanted to extend a huge thanks to you guys for including what is not nominal dollars, but small dollars in comparison to other line items in the budget for the Kofelt redevelopment. I just want to make sure it's clear to everybody that any amount of investment really stimulates investment from other areas, and the city of Phoenix stepping up and providing some dollars along with the county and the state and even the federal government helps incentivize private groups to come in and invest in Kofelt. Kofelt is a $45 million redevelopment, and every little piece helps. And I think we've put together a very strong team. And like I said, every piece helps, and this amount of money from the city is going to be very, very beneficial to the community at large, but specifically the residents at Kofelt that's so dearly needed. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you, everybody, for coming this evening. As I said earlier, I haven't seen a budget not change as a result of the public input we have, so your input was really important. If you think of something later, send an email or attend another hearing. And thank you for participating in your community. I'm going to turn it over to Councilman Nowakowski just to wrap up if he has any other additional comments.
Well, thank you so much, Rick. And once again, I want to thank you all. What I heard out there is that we really need to do something with our bike infrastructure, and that some great ideas came out where if we had everyone in the city of Phoenix pay $1.50, that we can have that infrastructure that we need for bikes. So I heard that loud and clear. I heard about how important it is for the arts and culture, and that we need to create some type of a grant program that we can spread out, not just within the downtown area, but throughout the whole city, and that we really need to support the transit initiative that's out there, that it's not just going to be for light rail, but it's also going to help out with our safe streets and our bike routes, and also for our needed sidewalks out there in the community and the infrastructure of our city of Phoenix. We also heard the importance of the after-school programs, that we really need to take care of our kids, especially when they're coming out of after school, and especially in the Kofelt area and the Hamilton area, that they have school districts out there that are willing to open up their doors and work with the city's Parks and Rec and create some type of a partnership where we can really use sports and art and education programs to really change the lives of young people. And then we heard from the Humane Society how we really need to go out there as a city of Phoenix and really reach out and start educating our pet owners, and actually look at individuals that are abusing animals and how to prevent that in any possible way. And also how the whole Kofelt Park is really important, that there's about 600 children that actually use that park, and it's a major part of their life, and that individuals are very thankful to the city of Phoenix for hiring a part-time person in this budget to actually take care of those 600 children, but it's really important to have a full-time person. So if there's a way or a need for the city of Phoenix to look for a full-time person, that would be really needed. Also, once again, the streets, and important to improve our streets. And then we heard loud and clear again from Joe about the airport, and that we as a community need to tell the airport what our needs are, not the airport telling us what our needs are, especially when it comes to the FAA, that we need to let them know that this is our city and what we need and what we want for our city. So I just really want to thank you all for voicing your opinions, because this is really important. It's important for myself as a city council member to hear from you all, because sometimes it looks really nice and pretty when you put things in this little budget review, but then sometimes we forget just the simple things. And those are the things, the safe routes, and how individuals need to have bike routes that are safe. Sometimes we think just putting a line down on the side of the road is good enough. But it's true. I have a 13-year-old all the way to a 1-year-old, 5 children that are under the age of 13, and I wouldn't allow them to right on our city streets because of the traffic and the safety. So we really need to figure out a safer way for our younger bike riders. So once again, I really want to thank you. I want to recognize also one of my staff members, Felicita Mendoza, if you can just stand up really quick. She works in our district office and handles a lot of your calls. And I just really want to thank all of our staff members. And I really want to thank the Irish Cultural Center for opening up their doors. This is a fine example of coming together as what I call a Team Phoenix approach, where we work with the private sector, with the community, and create a wonderful place where people can come and share their culture, their traditions, and gather to meet and come up with great ideas that we did this evening. So thank you once again, and have a nice evening.
You've been watching a community budget hearing held recently in Phoenix. For questions, comments, or ideas, please visit phoenix.gov or call 602-262-4800. You can also send feedback or videos through social media at #PhoenixBudget. This video can also be seen online at phoenix.gov/11 or youtube.com/City of Phoenix AZ.